working to connect a region of over 600 million bridges between our lands.
Good evening, I'm Alma Angeles, and you're watching Asean in Focus on today's program. In a devastating incident that unfolded on Monday night, a shooting in Philadelphia's King Sesing section resulted in the loss of 4 lives and left 4 others injured. Myanmar's humanitarian and human rights situation has reached alarming levels, according to a statement released by the United Nations. President Marcos Jr. commended the Philippine Air Force for their efforts in securing the country's territories. And the Department of Agriculture has alleviated the concerns of some farmers regarding the uncertain conditions for planting this July due to the looming threat of El Nino. And we begin tonight on a tragic incident outside the Asean region. A mass shooting in Philadelphia has once again thrust the ongoing crisis of gun violence in America into the spotlight. Multiple news reports reveal that the incident unfolded on Monday night, claiming the lives of 4 individuals and leaving 4 others injured. Philadelphia police spokesman Miguel Torres confirmed the presence of multiple gunshot victims, although specific numbers and additional details haven't been disclosed at this time. According to reputable sources such as the Philadelphia Inquirer and CNN, authorities have detained a suspect believed to be responsible for the shooting. The incident occurred in the King Sesing neighborhood of the city, and among those tragically affected by the violence, it has been reported that at least 2 juveniles were among the victims. Law enforcement officers successfully apprehended an individual who was reportedly wearing a bulletproof vest. In an alleyway, authorities recovered a rifle, a handgun, and additional ammunition magazines. The crime scene extends across various locations throughout the area, underscoring the magnitude of the tragedy. Regrettably, this incident follows closely on the heels of another shooting over the weekend. During a block party in Baltimore, 2 lives were lost and an astonishing 28 individuals sustained injuries. The Gun Violence Archive reports that this year alone, a staggering total of 339 mass shootings have occurred in America. The archive defines mass shootings as incidents where 4 or more individuals are either killed or wounded. And we bring you the latest on the humanitarian and human rights crisis in Myanmar. During a bi-weekly press briefing in Geneva, UN Human Rights spokesperson Ravina Shadasani and James Roddyhaver, head of the Myanmar team, addressed the alarming report published by the UN Human Rights Office. Now, according to Shadasani, since February 1, 2021, the military has consistently prioritized its own objectives over the urgent needs of conflict-affected communities. Even when humanitarian workers were granted access, their ability to deliver aid was tightly controlled and restricted.
Myanmar's overall humanitarian and human rights situation has deteriorated to alarming levels, exacerbated by the military strategy to prevent life-saving humanitarian aid from reaching those who desperately need it. Since the 1st of February 2021, we have documented how the military continues to prioritize its aims over all other considerations, including the urgent need of conflict-affected communities to receive life-saving assistance. Even when humanitarian workers have been permitted access, their ability to deliver aid has been strictly limited and controlled. As our report makes clear, intentional obstruction or denial of humanitarian assistance may amount to gross violations of international human rights law and serious violations of international humanitarian law. In the context of armed conflicts, intentional obstruction or denial of humanitarian assistance may further constitute war crimes, such as willful killing, torture, and other degrading treatment, starvation, and collective punishment.
The scale of Myanmar's human rights and humanitarian crisis is immense. Approximately 1.5 million people have been internally displaced, and over 60,000 civilian structures have reportedly been burned or destroyed. And shockingly, more than 17.6 million people, equivalent to one-third of the population, are in need of humanitarian assistance. Speaking on the military's tactics, James Roddyhaver stated that they increasingly rely on indiscriminate weaponry and attacks on civilian population to gain control.
In part because the military was increasingly using indiscriminate weaponry and indiscriminate attacks on the civilian population as a means to increase their control in the country. They've relied upon a strategy called the four-cut strategy. And that strategy is basically to say that we are going to cut off access to food, to finances, to intelligence, and to the ability of our opponents to recruit amongst the civilian population. They, of course, have used these tactics that I've spoken about before, the military means, to really instill fear. The use of heavy weaponry on civilian areas, the use of airstrikes, the burning of villages, the use of landmines to prevent people that flee conflict from coming back to their homes. We've also had humanitarian and aid providers tell us how they are consistently exposed to risks of arrest, harassment, and mistreatment, or even death. A number of interviewees tell us what was best encapsulated by one individual, which was to say, the main overall risk is that when you deliver assistance, you are considered as associated to illegal groups, and you can get arrested or punished for that. There have been at least 40 local aid providers that have been killed as a result of the clampdown by the military on their, all because they were in the process of delivering aid or assistance.
And now we bring you the latest developments from Taiwan, where the island nation is preparing for a two-day missile live-firing test amid escalating tensions with China. The test, scheduled for Monday and Tuesday, comes ahead of the island's largest annual military exercises and aims to enhance its defense capabilities. The 23 million Taiwanese people live under the constant threat of invasion by Beijing, which considers the self-ruled democracy as part of its territory to be reclaimed in the future. Amid strained relations between Taipei and Beijing, China has conducted two major military exercises near Taiwan in the past year. In April, Beijing simulated targeted strikes on Taiwan and practiced an aerial blockade, responding to President Tsai Ing-wen's meeting with U.S. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy. Against this backdrop, the missile firings in southern Pingtung County will serve as a display of Taiwan's determination to protect its sovereignty. These tests coincide with China's recent aerial and naval maneuvers in and around the Taiwan Strait, a narrow passage separating the island from mainland China. Tensions have also played out in the diplomatic sphere, with Beijing refusing to engage in dialogue with Tsai's government since her election. Last week, Taiwan's Immigration Department rejected visa applications from Chinese tourism officials, citing doubts about the necessity of their participation in an upcoming international travel fair. President Marcos Jr. commended the Philippine Air Force for their efforts in securing the country's territories. Speaking at the 76th founding anniversary of the PAF, held at the Hariban hangar in Clark Air Base, the president attributed the success to the groundwork laid out by the PAF in updating its assets and operations. Let's listen to what the president had to say.
As your commander-in-chief, I am proud to see the great distance that we and the past have flown to ensure the security and sovereignty of our beloved nation. Your service also goes far beyond conflict, extending into the depths of calamity and humanitarian crises, where you have selflessly extended a helping hand to those in need.
Now, the president made this announcement after witnessing a capability demonstration by the PAF at Colonel Robina Air Base in Capas, Tarlac. The demonstration showcased the PAF's surface, strike, combat, support capability, and rescue operations. The president reaffirmed his commitment to support the modernization of the armed forces of the Philippines, including the PAF, to adapt to changing geopolitical situations in the Asia-Pacific region. Here's what he had to say.
Be easy and will demand every ounce of our strength and our resilience. The winds of change signal geopolitical challenges around our region and other parts of the world that are yet affect us. The Philippine Air Force Maritime Air Patrol missions are thus essential in upholding our territorial integrity and safeguarding Philippine maritime seas.
Meanwhile, Lieutenant General Stephen Barrero, the commanding general of the PAF, expressed his gratitude to the President for providing resources for their modernization initiatives. He emphasized the PAF's commitment to excellence and their plans to make these reforms sustainable.
This year, we aim to shine even brighter and to perform even better. This year's theme speaks of how we shape a better Air Force for the years to come. PAF at 76, accelerating with excellence towards a more capable, credible, and sustainable force.
General Pareño also highlighted the PAF strategies to ensure the readiness of their forces.
And through proactive supply management, asset maintenance, safety, prioritization, and technological innovation, sustainability is now realized and being institutionalized.
In a discussion on the Biden administration's foreign policy approach, Secretary of State Antony Blinken shared some crucial insights. He described the world as being at an inflection point, a turning moment that occurs only every few generations. Secretary Blinken emphasized that the decisions we make now will have a profound impact on the coming decades. During his hour-long conversation at the Council of Foreign Relations in New York City, Secretary Blinken touched upon various key topics. He addressed the ongoing war in Ukraine, recent internal developments in Russia, the situation in Taiwan, and America's complex relationship with China.
I think from where we sit, where I sit, this won't be news to a lot of people in this room, the post-Cold War era is over. And there is a profound competition underway right now to shape what comes next. We had a strong consensus coming out of the Cold War. We thought that major power competition was over. We thought we'd have an integrated global economy. But then, of course, we've seen the emergence of major disruptors that are now, I think, pushing us past that era that we hoped would be lasting, but turns out not to be. Obviously, I don't think a clear finish line.
Now, earlier this month, Secretary of State Antony Blinken embarked on a visit to China, during which he engaged in a meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping. Following their discussions, Blinken emerged with an announcement that both parties had reached an agreement to stabilize the bilateral relations between the U.S. and China. However, it should be noted that they did not reach a consensus on resuming military-to-military communications, a matter that the U.S. deems crucial in order to prevent potential miscalculations. Regrettably, tensions escalated mere days later when President Joe Biden, during a campaign reception, referred to President Xi as a dictator. Now, this remark sparked a strong reaction from China, further intensifying the strain on an already delicate relationship between the two nations.
We had an incident that caused some confusion, you might say. But the Secretary Blinken had a great trip to China. I expect to be meeting with President Xi sometime in the future, in the near term, and I don't think it's had any real consequence.
Addressing these recent events, Secretary Blinken stated on Wednesday that China holds the belief that the U.S. is deliberately hindering its economic and global progress, a claim he vehemently refuted.
From China's perspective, no surprise to people here, is that our purpose is to contain them, to hold them down, to hold them back, globally and economically. And the fact of the matter is it's not. How is it in our interest to allow them to get technology that they may turn around and use against us, whether it's in building a very opaque nuclear weapons program and expanding it at a very rapid pace, developing hypersonic missiles, using AI potentially for repressive purposes?
Now, during the conversation moderated by Richard Haas, President of the Council on Foreign Relations, Secretary Blinken faced questions regarding the U.S. position on defending Taiwan in the event of a Chinese invasion.
So 4 times your boss, the President of the United States, has said that the U.S. would help defend Taiwan if it were attacked by China, and 4 times the White House staff has walked him back. So what is our policy, and why aren't we basically telling China, within the context of one China policy, you've done things to increase the threat, we're going to do things to increase the your understanding that you cannot move against Taiwan with impunity?
Richard?
Yes, sir.
We continue to be guided by the One China policy based on the 3 communiques, the Taiwan Relations Act, and the 6 assurances. That hasn't changed, and that won't change.
Mr. Secretary, we can do all that and still increase the certainty that with which we communicate to China that we are there for Taiwan if they use coercion.
And I think it's evident not only in what we're saying, but also in what we're doing, that we are there for Taiwan. Under the Taiwan Relations Act, we've had a long-standing policy of making sure that we could do what's necessary to help Taiwan defend itself. That policy and the sort of rheostat on it also depends a lot on what Beijing is doing or not doing. And that was designed in from the get-go, including in the communiques.
Now, President Joe Biden has previously stated that the U.S. would provide military support to defend Taiwan in such a scenario. However, this led to prompt clarifications from the White House staff, emphasizing that the U.S. hasn't deviated from its long-standing policy of strategic ambiguity. Now, this policy aims to keep China uncertain about how the U.S. would respond to a potential invasion, maintaining a level of uncertainty in order to deter aggressive actions. The Philippines and the Netherlands are looking to strengthen their ties in the aerospace sector, with the potential for the Netherlands to serve as a gateway for Philippine airline companies to expand their operations in Europe. The 2 countries held a roundtable meeting on the aerospace sector on Monday, which was led by Trade and Industry Secretary Alfredo Pascual. Pascual said that the Philippines sees the Netherlands as a significant partner in the aerospace industry, and that the 2 countries could collaborate on a number of areas, including strengthening the aviation infrastructure in both countries, promoting sustainable aviation, developing space technology and applications, education, and skills development. The Netherlands has a strong aerospace and aviation industry with world-class airports, aerospace research facilities, and maintenance, repair, and overhaul services. The Philippines is looking to tap into this expertise to help the country become a hub for manufacturing and aftermarket services in the aerospace industry. In a commendable effort to tackle the global marine litter problem, residents of Bangkok took to the city center for a trash picking competition. In just 1 hour, they managed to collect a staggering 170 kilograms of garbage. Takayasu Udagawa, spokesperson from the Nippon Foundation, one of the organizers, highlighted the significance of the event.
Yeah, we created the Spogomi because the marine litter problem is becoming the serious problem all over the world. So the litter is not from the sea, but from the land. The trash was littered or left behind going to the ocean through the rivers. So we have to pick up the trashes.
Participants from 58 teams formed 58 teams, each searching the hidden corners of the city center. One member of the winning team, Sebasit Vanarungson, a business owner and avid runner, explained the motivation behind their participation.
It's just like sport. We are a runner, so we love to running. And Spokomi is mean sport, and komi is mean garbage. So we love to collecting the separate the waste, and we love sporting. So this, I think this activity is matched for us. Yeah.
Now he also shared their experience during city runs.
And when we running, we can observe everything. We can see the trash on the footpath near the bush.
Another participant, Chana Karen Chuchipuencam Mall, a civil servant, shared her surprise at discovering trash in previously unnoticed places.
We found the trash in the place that we never noticed it before.
Now, the Department of Agriculture has alleviated the concerns of some farmers regarding the uncertain conditions for planting this July due to the looming threat of El Nino. According to DA Field Operations Service Director Nichols Manalo, it is still safe to plant at this time as Pagasa is forecasting more rain showers.
Nasabi ko nga po, sa ngayon, meron pang pag-uulan. No? Yung mga areas, may mga nagtatanim pa. Kasi po, pag tinignan natin naman yung planting schedule, actually, patapos ang wet season ngayong September 15. Papasok yung dry season ngayong September 16 hanggang March 15. So, ibig sabihin, sa ngayon, yung ibang areas meron pang nagtatanim. Pag magtanim ka ngayon na may tubig pa na dadating, no? Makaka-harvest ka pa siguro mga late September, late October, na tamang-tama din na, di ba, ang halos karamihan sa ating mga magsasaka nagbibilad ng palay, nagbibilad ng mais sa mga kalsada. So, medyo may advantage yung pwede pang makapagtanim ngayon at makaka-harvest sila dahil usually yung mga months na yon tag-ulan.
In fact, many areas are expected to experience above normal rainfall this year, so farmers with small-scale irrigation facilities are advised to start collecting excess rainwater.
Ngayon, ang tinasabi nga ng ating meteorological forecast, medyo way below normal. Below normal rainfall. Medyo may kakontian base dun sa average normal rainfall ang dadating by October.
In line with this, based on Pagasa's agro-meteorological forecast, several provinces in Luzon may experience below normal rainfall as early as October, worsening by December. The DA warns that the impact on the agricultural sector due to El Nino may be felt until the second quarter of 2024. To prepare for El Nino, the DA is actively mapping out areas that may be affected and identifying regions that will remain unaffected or even see increased production. Additionally, the department plans to conduct cloud seeding operations and provide drought-resistant seeds. In the early hours of the morning, amidst complete darkness, rice farmer Tran Thi Lan embarks on her journey to waterlogged fields on the outskirts of Hanoi. Determined to beat the scorching heat that lies ahead, she hopes to complete her planting before sunrise.
Mà nhiệt độ 37, 38 độ như bây giờ, mùa nóng này thì cấy ban đêm này cây lúa nó sẽ được mát, nó sẽ tươi hơn, nó phát triển nhanh hơn là cấy ban ngày. Ban ngày nhiệt độ nó nóng thì cây lúa phát triển nó sẽ chậm hơn.
Now, this peculiar practice of planting in the dark has become a lifeline for numerous farmers in North and Central Vietnam as South and Southeast Asian countries grapple with unprecedented high temperatures this year. Tran Thi Lan, 47, expressed the challenges she faces under the blazing sun, stating,
Quá là nóng, nắng nóng, toàn 37, 38 độ, cấy nắng nóng bà con không cấy được. Như ngày hôm nay chỉ 9 giờ là đi về, 9 giờ là dạo rực rồi, là đi về rồi. Cấy buổi tối thì cây lúa nó cũng khỏe mà con người nó cũng khỏe nhưng mà ánh sáng thì nó không được bằng ban ngày. Nên là hàng lối nó cũng không được thẳng như ban ngày.
She had attempted a few days of daytime planting during a brief reprieve from the heat. However, as another heat wave descended upon northern Vietnam, Lan switched to nocturnal work. Meteorologists predict a prolonged period where daily temperatures will exceed 37 degrees Celsius or 98 degrees Fahrenheit. Aware of the limitations imposed by working in insufficient light, Lan acknowledges that her planting might not be as precise. Nonetheless, she proceeds to swiftly bury some roots into an illuminated patch of paddy aided by her headlamp. Similarly, 62-year-old farmer Nguyen Hang Pong adjusted his schedule to work from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. and again from 3 a.m. to 9 a.m.
Cây thích lắm. Thì ban đêm nó mát, được việc. Đấy. Ban ngày thì cũng nhìn rõ thật nhưng mà nó nắng lông hội sợ. Thế là phải đi sớm nó cấy được việc.
The practice of night planting emerged a few years ago at Nguyen Thi Tan's farm. Regardless of the time, farmers like Lan and Puang can earn up to $40 a day, a significant sum in a country where rural laborers typically earn around $250 each month. However, the arduous nature of the work discourages potential laborers from taking up the task. And as temperatures continue to soar, these farmers persevere through the night, hoping to secure their livelihoods and sustain their communities. And now we bring you the latest highlights from the 34th Golden Melody Awards in Taiwan, which has returned in full swing after 3 years of social distancing. This prestigious event not only celebrates local musicians, but also features talented artists from overseas, including Thailand and Japan. The atmosphere at the award ceremony was nothing short of electrifying, with Taiwanese singers Ailin and Hush emerging as the big winners of the night. Ailin was honored with the Best Female Singer award, while Hush claimed the title of Best Male Singer. International artists also graced the event, adding to the excitement. James Fauntleroy, a renowned singer from the U.S., expressed his enthusiasm.
This is the best place. This is incredible. It feels just like the Grammys with just a little more swag, maybe. You know what I'm saying? It's definitely hotter. You feel me? So they bring in the heat.
Angelica Lee, a celebrated Malaysian actress, shared her experience attending the Golden Melody Awards for the first time.
大概是第一次做这么中性的装扮，以前都没有做过。然后因为以前出席的都是金马奖的颁奖典礼。 所以感觉好像自己是一个演员、一个电影人，所以要很 elegant。但我觉得这次也是我第一次出席金曲奖了，然后就觉得，哎，作为一个音乐人，好像可以再好玩一点、有趣一点，所以就今天做了一个比较不一样的打扮，比较中性一点。
Ailin, who was overwhelmed with joy upon winning the Best Female Singer award, expressed her surprise.
讲的时候，我还不知所措，我以为就是这一次也是。 是在参加。
Hush, the recipient of the Best Male Singer Award, expressed his happiness at being nominated and his disbelief at winning the prestigious accolade.
可以入围歌手的奖项，已经觉得很开心了。然后没有想到又得了歌手的奖项，所以就觉得啊。 我现在可以很骄傲的说，我是一个创作歌手。
The 35th Golden Melody Awards will be held in 2024. The awards ceremony is typically held in November, but the exact date hasn't yet been announced. And finally in our news, in an extraordinary feat of scientific exploration, the Euclid Space Telescope took off from Cape Canaveral, Florida earlier today, marking the first ever mission dedicated to investigating the enigmatic realms of dark energy and dark matter.
So that's about 95% of our universe is made of these dark materials which we just don't understand. And so Euclid is one of these missions which is going to start to push the bounds so that we start to understand what this is.
Riding atop a Falcon 9 rocket provided by SpaceX, the European Space Agency launched the telescope at precisely 11:12 a.m. local time. The collaboration with Elon Musk's SpaceX became necessary after Russia's withdrawal of its Soyuz rockets due to the ongoing conflict in Ukraine, which led to the ESA to seek an alternative launch provider. Euclid will now embark on a month-long journey through space, joining its counterpart, the James Webb Space Telescope, at a fixed position known as the second Lagrange point, located approximately 1.5 million kilometers from Earth. Scientists eagerly anticipate the data Euclid will provide, as it holds the potential to address what project manager Giuseppe Racca calls a cosmic embarrassment, our limited knowledge of the universe.
We don't know what the universe is made of. We don't know what the fundamental building blocks are of this universe as it stands today. It's a really fundamental embarrassment, frankly, that we don't know essentially what more than 90% of the universe is. We know.
As my usual habit, I'd like to end the day on a positive note. Let's encourage and build each other up so that no one is left behind. And that's it for tonight's broadcast. I'm Alma Angela. Stay in the news because we live in extraordinary times. Good night.